go racing. Bad start by Lallam. He was slightly caught napping, I think, so Engel gets away. Up the inside goes Sandy Mitchell into second place straight away. Nice move. So Engel leads. Second, it's Sandy Mitchell going up the hill. Chris Lallam is third in the Ferrari. And then who's going to be fourth? On the outside is Lapalainen, and on the inside is Neubauer.
Yeah, it was a great jump from Engel. He slowed it right down as Lallam hangs it round the outside of Mitchell to hold on to second place. Ferrari's jostling back, go on board with Mitchell. Bit of a rub there on the back of Lallam. That's a shame for Mitchell because it actually gave the momentum into the rear of that Ferrari. And off he goes. This is playing into Engel's hand. Lallam defending, poor exit onto the back straight now. Engel gapping them. That's going to be a second and a half plus as the gap as we look at them too wide running through. Goes with the Porsche on his outside and a queue behind him. This is going to get Ferrari there 2 by 2 as they approach Hawthorns.
Down they come for the first time. Mauro Engel trying to build that lead. Benji Goethe goes through, but Engel is away and gone by 3, 4, 5 lengths or so over Chris Lallam, who did a really good job of fighting back as Enrique Chavez and the Aston gets up the inside there. Leans a little bit almost on the McLaren. Patrick Niederhauser ahead in the Porsche, gets away. Chavez goes through on the inside, takes the place away. So nice move as the McLaren goes through, up now towards the left-hander of Sterling's, towards the end of lap number 1. Mauro Engel pushing, trying to build that lead, knowing that if you're up front, it's hard to be overtaken. Down they come through clearways. Another of the McLarens further back being crowded out a little bit, but that's a demon first lap by Mauro Engel. He has stormed away. Chris Lallam, though, really good a fight, an attacking first lap to retake second place. Mitchell third, Neubauer fourth, Lapalainen fifth. Kelvin van der Linde is up to sixth, as there on the inside line going through is the Louis Pret McLaren. That's dropped a long way back on the first lap, and so actually is Benji Goethe. He was 9th at the end of the first lap.
Yeah, my tip for the win has lost 4 places and is down in 9th place. Car looked awful out the back, a lot of oversteer, and I think maybe Garage 59 sent that car to the grid too early. It was one of the first cars out there, so it lost the most tyre temp. I think Goethe's got to get that car working, get it back in the window, but he has got no pace whatsoever after a strong qualifying and a strong race one this morning. They're fading fast.
But Chris Lallam has just taken 4 tenths out of Mauro Engel in the first sector alone, so that Ferrari is looking very racy right now as the cars drop down through Hawthorn. That is Goethe, so he has fallen to 9th as the field accelerates along the straight, and that's the lead gap, and it's coming down. Lallam taking Mitchell with him. 4th is Thomas Neubauer. Lapalainen is 5th. Van der Linde is 6th. 7th is Niederhauser. Then it's Chavez, Goethe, Gachet to round out the top 10. They're coming up to the end of the middle sector, and fractionally the faster is Engel than Chris Lallam. So you gain in one sector, you lose a little bit in the other, but as the field now accelerates down to clearways, number 19 is being investigated for a jump start, Baptiste Moulin. Leaders go by. Engel to Lallam was 1.2 seconds, and now it's down to 7 tenths. Lallam lapping demonstrably quicker than Mauro Engel.
Yeah, nearly 5 tenths a second quicker, so he has got some serious pace.
That is the Cesar Gazzo Mercedes, and right up behind him is Alex Arca in the Audi. That is the Silver Cup lead battle up the road ahead. 51, Vincent Abril. He's only 11th. Abril, the race 1 winner, he's gone backwards.
Yeah, 2 places lost on this opening start of the race. That's what I love about GT World Challenge Sprint. There's 2 races and you can have 2 completely separate results. We're seeing a race winner outside of the top 10. Shows you how competitive this field really is.
Right, the road absolutely plunges downhill, and then you climb up towards Druids, hit the brakes, down through the gears, turn sharp right, bang, almost into the back of the Mercedes.
Yeah, he's showing the strength he's got in that Audi under braking there. Doesn't lose too much time, but he did run in too deep on the brakes. We see a battle ahead, 2 Audis side by side, one getting elbowed out there. That was Magnus and Moncini. They've swapped place, and now we can see Acker's trying to defend from that car as he gets past his teammate, and he stays on the back of that Mercedes.
So the Mercedes of Boots and VDS goes through the traffic. Leonardo Moncini gets forced back in the pack as a consequence, and the cars now come again down towards Hawthorn. So Moncini in the other Attempto car, number 88, the one that fell back in the queue.
Yeah, we saw Pepper, didn't we, do a move at turn 4 earlier on Jamie Day and the Aston Martin, which attracted a penalty, and that's the corner is under investigation. It was the corner I thought there would be a hot spot as well. Drive
through for Jordan Pepper. So for causing a collision, Jordan Pepper gets a drive-through. So James Kell last, thanks to the assault from Pepper, and a drive-through comes for Jordan.
Very nice. He's a seasoned pro, Pepper, but that's two similar mistakes in back-to-back races. That's the problem when you start at the back. Acker's having to run the windscreen wiper, not because of rain, because of dust that has been flung onto the front of that Audi R8. The problem with that is actually seems to be smearing it more than clearing it. So I think he needs to knock that off and just try and look through it. But the team are going to have to clean the windscreen or take a tear off in the pit stop, because that is we're only a quarter way through the race and that is hard to look through.
Jordan Pepper into the pits for the drive-through, and as he comes down the pit lane, let's have a look at why he got it. Gets up the inside of James Cowell and kind of shovels him aside.
Yeah, it's almost identical to the move he put on Jamie Day, isn't it? And when we pick it up, and we're not seeing it for long enough to say he's definitely in the wrong, but where the contact is, it's his front right against the rear left of the other car, this time James Cowell, and that does look pretty damning. So frustration for Grasser this weekend.
Alex Archer then hard at work in number 99 as he comes across the line. You can see the onboard insert there in the timing tower as he goes into paddock hill bend, still chasing after Cesar Gazzo. That lead gap in silver, 0.3 of a second. In terms of gold, Chris Lullam in the blue Ferrari there in second place overall. The second car in gold is Gilles Magnus in 12th place overall. So it's a big cushion that Chris Lullam has got, whereas the Gazzo Archer battle is just 0.3 of a second.
But we heard, didn't we, earlier, especially from Vermeulen, Lullam's teammate, that they're not happy with just gold. They're thinking overall. And I love that mentality that they've already discounted the gold category for them. They're that competitive overall. They're looking all the way through the series as we watch Niederhauser at the back of this four-car battle pack that is being held up by the number 50 Ferrari of Neubauer, now nearly 1.8 seconds behind Mitchell in third place.
Mitchell still has that fastest lap of the race as you look here at fourth and fifth and sixth as they head up the hill. So Neubauer, Lapalainen, Kelvin van der Linde, yellow flag because off the road has gone number 19. That is Baptiste Moulin. That is buried in the gravel over at Sheen Curve, and that surely is going to be a safety car to get that out of the way.
Yeah, this is going to make the pits very busy in 6 minutes because the full course yellow or safety car will still be active, I think, by the time the pit window opens. That is truly beached. It's a long way off, but of course it's not too far off where another car could make there.
If the race is under caution at the pit window, that will be delayed, won't it, until the caution period is done. So that will be delayed potentially depending on what race control do. We're going full course yellow first of all to slow everybody down. Full course yellow is coming now.
It looked like Engel slowed down a bit later than everyone else. I don't know if Lullam was early or Engel was late, but look at the gap that Engel has pulled away. That has definitely gone. Let's listen in on the team radio from Sandy Mitchell. Let's see what he's got to say to the Barwell team.
So what's your feeling at the moment on traffic and pace?
I'm just saying, obviously this is very close, so we need to have a clear line box too.
So the team trying to ask Sandy, are you getting held up by Lullam in front? And I've got to admit, I didn't really understand what he said, but the team would have heard better on the radio and they'll be making their decision. I think they need to go long with Mitchell. His experience in that car versus Hugo Cook, I think even being held up by Lullam slightly, that car needs to go long. And this is where we get the 80-kilometre-an-hour race. Some drivers trying to work out now, do I go short distance, pick up some detritus on the rubber? Because if I'm going to box before we go back to green, I don't need the tyres to be clean, and I can actually catch some cars up by going a shorter distance. And it does look like that Barwell Lamborghini is more at 80 than the Lullam Ferrari, because Sandy's actually looking to the inside saying, come on, speed up.
I think the conversation from Barwell to Sandy Mitchell was hinging around whether to try to bring him in early, therefore to try and jump the Chris Lullam Ferrari if he's being held up. But equally, they've got to counter that with maximising Sandy Mitchell's usefulness behind the wheel, because he's the Lamborghini factory driver. He therefore should be quicker than Hugo Cook. You saw in the background a moment ago, Ricky Carlisle. There he is on the right of the shot, the grey jacket, British GT champion last year. Big smile on his face. He's here doing some coaching for the Barwell team for the Silver Cup car, but sadly we don't have Ricky on the grid this year, which is a great shame. Pit window has indeed been delayed because of the race being under caution, so we can only have the pit window open when we go green, and at the moment we are under the full course yellow. It may be that we do have to go safety car depending on the length of this to get the Lamborghini out of the way. Bear in mind, we didn't have a single safety car at Paul Ricard. We had full course yellows, but then the race was restarted, and Niels Wittich, who is the race director this year, but maybe looking at things in a slightly different way than his predecessor. So we'll see whether he is content to let them go after a full course yellow, or he wants a lap of safety car to bring things up to temperature. We're back racing again at Brands. Engel leads, Lallem second, Mitchell third, Neubauer now in the mix as well, fourth, Lapalainen fifth, and Linda sixth. Through Paddock Hill Bend they go, and Chris Lallem now in second spot has dropped away from Engel. All he can do before he brings the car to the pit lane is repel the challenger Sandy Mitchell.
Yeah, not a good restart, 7/10 a second behind over the line from Lallem. He had a good first corner, he's made some of that time up, but that isn't what you need. You need to be glued on the rear bumper of the car. Engel almost sold him a dummy. He was still weaving, and then he gave it a boot full of throttle, and Lallem didn't react until we saw Engel getting smaller in the distance, by which time that reaction time is too slow.
Race leaders thunder their way down towards Hawthorns then. We are into the second half, as it were, and look at the gap Engel has got now. Chris Lallem is doing his best to go after him. Third, Mitchell. Fourth, Neubauer. There in seventh place, Patrick Niederhauser chasing after Kelvin van der Linde, the Endurance Cup opening winner at Paul Ricard, out of the right-hander of Hawthorns they turn, and that's Lucas Auer getting ready to take on board because the pit window is now open. So this lap you can pit, and it will still be that 10-minute window, just shifted back in the total time of the race. So the question is not who is going to pit, how many are going to pit, who stays out. Engel comes towards Clark Curve then, the leading Mercedes is in, Lallem is in, and Neubauer fourth stays out, and Lapalainen from fifth stays out, and I think also one of the McLarens was that Goethe, he stays out as well.
Yeah, I'm surprised Moore didn't stay out, Mitchell being one of them. I thought he'd be able to run. We have another car in the gravel. That's at turn 6 on the exit of Westall. That's going to be another full course yellow. Are they going to try and get some of these cars to get their pit stop done? That is a very fast part. See Engel getting out and getting Auer in. Who's going to win this pit stop race? We saw a very fast pit stop from that red-orange BMW. Barwell finishing off. They got a new set of tyres as well. They've saved for Hugo Cook. Car's going to drop and release. They're early on in pit lane. I'm just watching now as the Winwood car clears it. The Valkenhurst Aston Martin, cleared. And look at WRT. That is a big jump forward for them.
And another slow stop for Thierry Vermeulen's Ferrari. He has hemorrhaged places. Look how many spots he's dropped coming out of the pit lane. So, as the cars now rejoin, that pit stop for the number 69 Ferrari, as he accelerates away, it's about 8 seconds slower than many. And you've got some side-by-side even coming out of the pit lane there. Number 26 Audi, Alvin Klemenko, just getting ahead of Simon Gachet. Now, yellow flags out on the Grand Prix part of the circuit with a car in the gravel. My suspicion would be that once everybody has made a pit stop, then that will be addressed. Okay, keep the yellow out, but at the moment, try and let everybody get the stops out of the way. Meanwhile, Neubauer and Lapalainen are first and second. In comes Neubauer, in comes Lapalainen. Let's see where they feed back in. This could be a really good roll of the dice to do an extra lap at full speed.
You can see Neubauer at 50.4 kilometres an hour. They're right on the borderline, stopping in the box. He's already loosened his belts, and you can now see that 35 Aston Martin all over the back of Hugo Cook. They're slowing down for that yellow flag. You can't improve your sector time. They've all got GPS as well, going back to race control so they can see exactly the speed that's being doing. But it was a good stop from Winwood, and it looks like Auer has some good pace. Emil Frey on the sister car. It was a slow pit stop, wasn't it, for the sister car of Vermeulen. They lost nearly, 8 seconds in the pits.
Indeed, nearly 9 to the WRT BMW. Right, here come the Ferraris then, down the pit lane. Here comes Lucas Auer on the track. He's going to keep the lead, but the big winner is going to be Charles Wirtz in the BMW, number 32, up into second position. So a really, really good stop as ever from WRT. So number 32 BMW, its pit stop, 40.9 seconds. Big slide from the Boots and VDS Mercedes AMG as it comes back on track. So we'll go through the order at the end of the next lap. As you can see, the Ferraris getting themselves together. Vermeulen is there just ahead of Alessio Rivera, who goes way wide into the weeds, coming out of Druids, gets up the inside of Aurelien Planis at Graham Hill Bend, runs the Mercedes out wide, takes the place. That slow pit stop from Emil Frey, though, has put Thierry Vermeulen into 12th place now. So nearly 9 seconds lost to WRT. They've hemorrhaged places. And after a good first stint by Chris Lallem, Thierry Vermeulen now is the one with all the hard work to do. The lead gap looks like it's stretched again, does it not? Lucas Auer getting away from Charles Wirtz as they come now down towards Clearways. This is the end of lap number 23. Jordan Pepper is the notional leader, but he still owes us a pit stop, as there is Vermeulen round the outside, coming through Clark Curve. He's certainly on the attack, isn't he, as they head up towards the line. Alessio Rivera he's fighting with, and the two Ferraris virtually dead set level as they come across the timing line. And there as they go by, it is Vermeulen just ahead of Rivera by 17 thousandths, but Rivera is back through and he's wide at paddock. Vermeulen is on the attack. Same type of car, two different teams. Vermeulen on the outside and the race one winning. Rivera just fends him off. Full course yellow for the second time, and some respond better than others.
I mean, that was pretty dramatic for a slowing down period. Leclerc there either slow to react or didn't see Muller slowing down as early as he did. And he had to take avoiding action there. And he's now slotted in, so he should be okay. But that must have been a wild ride. It took a load of dirt on the front split as it bounced across the dirt. And again, you can see these cars all close up. Everyone's aiming for 80, but they will be maximising every kilometre an hour they can. Is it going to be a short full course yellow without a safety car, or is it going to be the same procedure as the full course yellow into safety car pre-pit stop window?
Let us see, because the car well beached in the gravel. It'll be the same principle. You have to get that vehicle out there. You've got to attach the hoist to the roof, lift the car, get the car out of the gravel, get it out of harm's way, get the snatch vehicle back to a place of safety. The operation is already going on. As you can see, the marshals are quickly there, but it's going to be a lap or two. Teams discussing what's going on. AF Corsa discussing the overlap, I think, that we identified a moment ago. Right, just to quickly catch up on a few things. 19 minutes of the race remain. That's all. We're under full course yellow for this car being in the gravel. It happened a few laps ago, but the race direction team have let all the pit stops cycle through. Now they can address it. How did it get there? Well, it was courtesy of the McLaren number 112. That was the James Kell car. And off into the gravel was the number 97 Porsche of Isham Piris. His race run. Luke Hartog denied a run in that car. They've had a tough day, winning on the road and then a penalty in race one and retirement in race two. This is 111 McLaren, Jim Pla, alongside the Audi heading down the pit lane. They clash. They are still side by side at the other side. That's being looked at by race control, by the way, for an unsafe release. 26, so Lawrence Lesetua, who was the Audi. But yes, that's being addressed, as you can imagine. The Audi ahead on track, but it's what they were doing in the pit lane that's the greater concern.
Yeah, they're actually pit box neighbours, so I think Santalot would have been in the fast lane first, so they had the chance to be there. So I think the Audi was the innocent party on that one.
Bring the car out of Clark Curve, and Charles Wirtz goes after him in the BMW. But winners here last year, Lucas Auer, Maro Engel are leading as they go up towards Paddock Hill Bend. Wirtz second, third is Green, Muller fourth, Leclerc fifth, Kirchhoff sixth. Out of Paddock they go, and Lucas Auer tries now to build that gap once again. Charles Wirtz going after him in second place, bearing in mind that car started seventh, so it shows the importance of good pit stops, countered by Thierry Vermeulen's race having unravelled with that slow pit stop. He is on the tail though now of Alessio Rivera. The race one winning Ferrari number 51 really struggled to make progress in this race, whether it was on track or in the pits, in fairness. Up towards 30s they go, and we are just heading towards 10 minutes to go.
Yeah, Leclerc looking racy, had a bit of a lunge to the inside, didn't get the move done, but he looks fast. Kirchhoff is sat on the bumper in that Garage 59 car. Here's Vermeulen, who led the whole of the opening stint all the way down in 12th position behind that race-winning car. This is how competitive this championship is. As soon as you have one chink in your armour, that is the result gone, like we have said. And they're behind Everard, who is second in the gold class. You can see a bit of damage on the front of that car. Obviously, it was involved in that incident in stint one, so some of these cars getting roughed up a bit, and you find that in race two. The drivers know the next thing for these cars is going back in the race truck. They're not needed again for a few weeks, so a bit of bodywork damage is acceptable suddenly.
Repair time.
Exactly.
Just under a fortnight. Lucas Auer up towards the line. 29 laps are done into the last 10 minutes, and Charles Wirtz is not being able to go after him particularly. In third place, Ben Green, stabilising that gap over Sven Muller, looking to see who then is on a mission a little bit further down. Silver, it's still Panis versus Compact. Gap comes down second to third, under braking. Ben Green right under the rear wing of the BMW of Charles Wirtz. The Team WRT car blasts out the hairpin. Downhill, go left. Wirtz uses the curb on the inside, as does Green. That spits the Ferrari across the road, but he keeps one line in contact, one wheel rather, in contact with the white line, so all is good for track limits. Meanwhile, 5.5 minutes to go. Lucas Auer, 1.6 seconds to the good. Look at this traffic jam that is currently for 9th place. Villagomez, Everard, Rivera, Vermeulen, Panis, Compact, all in a line. Leader getting away.
Yeah, Villagomez looks like the rear of the car is starting to drop away. He's having bigger and bigger slides. He's struggling to get to the apex. That green and black Aston Martin I'm talking about there, holding up this pack. Looks like the Audi's pretty strong in Sector 1, and then the Ferrari suddenly in Sector 2 becomes alive. And we're seeing Ben Green in that first Ferrari, third overall. Can he do anything? Kirchhoff of that car I thought was going to be stronger in this race. He's really been bunched up after a poor start really from Benji Goth, where the rear of the car looked very loosened on that opening lap.
So as the race leaders come up through Sheen Curve, bouncing over the curb, Alessio Rivera, he's found race 2 a heck of a lot tougher than race 1, hasn't he? Mired in the pack, 11th place, and can't get past the Audi. The Audi, a venerable car these days, but Paul Everard's Santalok entry has gone really nicely. Everard and Gilles Magnus, bearing in mind that they've got that 10-second penalty to factor in. We'll worry about that at the end of the race. The Mustang goes through, Josefo Vega at the wheel of it, ahead of the car that won in silver in race 1, Marcus Siebert. So a change of place on that lap between the two. 4 minutes on the clock now as the leaders go by. Lucas Auer is being caught again by Charles Weert, who's just done an absolute best in the last sector. Charles Weert's having one last push. Hugo Cook 7th goes up the hill. That's your Gold Cup leader. Al Faisal Al Zubair, the Dubai 24 Hours winner, goes out of the hairpin, drops down the hill, and that BMW actually is a bit in no man's land. It is not being caught particularly, it's not catching, but it's on for a class win. And Paul Everard and Gilles Magnus, I mentioned that time penalty, they did not serve it, apparently, in the pit stop. They may have expected it to be done at the end of the race. They didn't serve it in the pits. That's under investigation.
So that car that's battling so hard is almost academic. It shouldn't be there. So that would be a big frustration for Rivera, who is still in 11th place. We've got 8 different manufacturers out of the 10 represented in the top 10. That shows you how competitive this series has been and how good the BOP has become already this early into the season. And it's given us some great tight racing, and it's hard to call which car has got the strengths everywhere because the actual way they're generating the lap time is so close. Going back to Al Zubair, the Omani, one of the nicest guys in motorsport, has had a relatively quiet stint. A great pit stop from WRT on that car, the fastest pit stop out of anyone, has really helped them, but a very, very strong job from him and his teammate Klinsmann.
And here is Compact, still pushing to try to get past Aurelien Panis. Mauro Engel with everything crossed, looks on. Going to have to do that for another 2 laps, maybe 3. As the leader is only 11 tenths up the road now. Charles Weert's chipping away, but you get the feeling Lucas Auer's got it all under control. There he is in the Mercedes, the Austrian driver coming along Cooper Straight, still being chased hard by Weert. And a 10-second time penalty added to number 25 for failing to serve the time penalty. So does that mean an extra 10 seconds? I assume it does.
It must do, mustn't it? Otherwise it's not another penalty. He's very wide there. This is going to give Rivera a chance to get a run onto the back straight. He's not close enough though to really get in the pocket of air for the slipstream to be at its most efficient, and actually he hasn't gone. So although Everard was very wide, he still got a very strong exit out onto the fastest point of the Brands GP circuit. So looks like you're there to hold on to that position so far. And yes, we're going to squeeze 2 more laps out of this race. Is it going to be a trend, or is Auer just managing what he's got track limit wise? He's only used 2 of his 6 lives, so he's A-OK on that front.
Quicker in both of the first 2 sectors of this lap as well, Lucas Auer, as he continues to build that gap. Interestingly though, Charles Weertz has shaken off Ben Green. They were together on the restart, 0.6 of a second last time, and this time as they come through 1.7. So Ben Green's had a bad lap in comparison. Those ahead are 23 or 24. He's done a 25, and Hugo Cook has just done a personal best lap in the 123s as well. But Ben Green did lose a big chunk of time on that last lap.
Yeah, fair play to Hugo Cook. Faster lap than Sandy Mitchell. Yes, the fuel load's lower, but experience level, that's a mighty lap there. I thought Ben Green looked like he had a problem. He looked really tentative into Druid. Same again, Sven Muller. Remember, these cars swapped position before the last safety car on pace. So has Ben Green got a problem? Has he used the tyre too hard? I'd be surprised at that latter comment as we go on board of Leclerc, who has been hounding Sven Muller in that Porsche in front, but a bit too far behind at the moment. And what you need to be is right on the bumper, just in case there's a mistake and you could just slip down the inside and claim that position. Ben Green really wide there. 2 places lost, maybe 3 to Kirchhoff behind us as well. He keeps out the wall, but that car suddenly looked like it lost a load of pace on the last lap, and this one, it has really hit home.
And he's going to lose another place because now Marvin Kirchhoff is right up behind him. And that Ferrari, if it's struggling, I wonder whether it's a tyre going down because he's lost time, he's now lost places, the car didn't want to turn, it can't really retaliate, but Kirchhofer actually does lose a length or so coming down towards clearways. Through goes Auer, and less than a lap time left in the race. So last lap underway, Auer, Weerts, and up into third place now Sven Müller. Fourth is Leclerc, down to fifth Ben Green, sixth Marvin Kirchhofer. Ben Green has got to try to nurse that car home. Still leading gold is Alfaisal Al-Zubar. Still leading silver is Aurelien Panis as the train of cars thunders over the line. As they come through paddock, the leader is on Cooper Straight, and 51, which is Alessio Rivera, leaving the track at turn 3 and gaining an advantage has been noted by race control. So what we have crossing the line may not necessarily be the final result. There's a lot for the stewards to unpack come the end of the race. There's a long Cooper Straight for the last time they come. Going to Surtees then. Lucas Auer, 1.6 seconds clear going on to the last lap. And this is the replay from on board after Leclerc's car. Have a look up the road ahead. Ben Green turns in, but the car does not like the corner, just runs wide onto the dirt at Hawthorns, into Westfield, turns again, and it just cannot make the apex.
Yeah, he got too greedy on the apex curve. I think he took too much of it and it just flung him in the air. We see cars go in the wall all the time there, and then he shuts the door on Kirchhofer. I actually think Kirchhofer could have sent it down the inside. He had the speed, but he didn't know whether to go left, right, or through the back of Ben Green.
One more corner to go for Lucas Auer, then it is going to be a win at Brands Hatch as it was last year. The reigning Sprint Cup champions, Maro Engel and Lucas Auer for Winward Racing for Mercedes-AMG. Win race 2 at Brands Hatch. Charles Weerts takes second place along with Calvin van der Linde, and third to Sven Müller and Patrick Niederhauser. There, the BMW Alfaisal Al-Zubar, Jens Klingmann wins gold, and silver goes the way of the Butson VDS Mercedes of Aurelien Panis and Cesar Gazo at the end of a race-long battle with number 99 Audi. They were together, I think, from the off. So Lucas Auer and Maro Engel are our race 2 winners at Brands Hatch, from Charles Weerts, Calvin van der Linde, with Sven Müller and Patrick Niederhauser taking third. Arthur Leclerc fourth, with the help of Thomas Neubauer, from Ben Green and Consta Lapalainen, Marvin Kirchhofer and Benjamin Goethe sixth. Hugo Cook, Sandy Mitchell taking 7th place, 8th going the way of Alfaisal Al-Zubar and Jens Klingmann, as does the Gold Cup win. 9th, Mathieu Villagomez and Enrique Chavez, and 10th, the race 1 winners, Alessio Rivera and Vincent Abril, and only 11th, Thierry Vermeulen and Chris Lallam. 12th, the Silver Cup winners, Aurelien Panis and Cesar Gazo.